maybe they do understand that a true relationship with God includes surrender. Like that's what it's all about. And the idea of surrendering is so weighty that it's almost like
Mhm.
I'll do everything else with that. Or
Yeah,
I'll surrender this and not that. And that's where it gets tough. And it's just like,
right.
thank God that he doesn't like kick us out in that way. Like, well, you're not, you know what I mean? Like, we could still be in the club.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's
and it's
like,
like we're our own worst enemy is kind
yeah,
of what I'm getting. It's like God is already doing it. Like he's already doing everything. Like he's God. Like we just have to keep our eyes focused on him, but it's like our own minds
yeah,
self-sabotage and we have all this desire and will and like all these things that I feel like torment us when we're focused on our own selves and like you said, focusing on the fruit rather than on God,
yeah.
which I definitely fall into that too because life is just tough sometimes, and I go through it too of like seasons of like just sadness. Like I don't want to call it depression because it's not like hopeless. Like I always have the hope of Christ. Um, but yeah, where I'm like craving to get those fruits. And I think that's why it's dangerous too to look at or to treat a relationship with God like the genie in the bottle thing that you're talking about of like, oh, I pray and if he doesn't answer it, then he's not there. It's like an overall relationship
Yeah.
and it's seeking him in all those moments throughout our whole life and not expecting it to be the way that we expect it to be or
Oh
him to
my
answer.
goodness. Yes, that's really even the past year and a half, 2 years. I was talking to someone. I felt like the Holy Spirit was like, reach out to this person. So, I asked her how she was doing, and she was having a rough time. And she said something to me, and I was like, oh my God. It was just like it convicted me. And she said, I realized that God is not enough. Because she was at the point of where she wasn't married, she didn't have any
Mhm,
children, and she wanted to be. And she was just like, I'm at a place where I'm like, God's not enough for me. And
mhm,
I was like, I appreciated the honesty because I think that, we as Christians sometimes have a tendency of like giving a verse or like saying like a random phrase to like not really sit with the feeling or sit with the thought or the emotion.
yeah,
Because sometimes I think we think that's not good. And it's like if you read in the Bible, I mean, if you take the book of Psalms,
mm,
David was here, there. He was telling God in one sentence to kill his enemies, and then he was like, "All right, Lord, like I get it."
yeah.
You went through the whole thing.
Yeah, like God wants us to grapple with him and like be
Absolutely
honest with him about all these things.
right, and he can handle that. And when
Yeah.
she said, and I was like, thank you for your honesty. And then I was like, wait a minute, is God enough for me? Like, am I
Mhm.
like if I have goals and desires, and I was like, if I never get that, would I be okay? And
Wow.
I'm like, man, I think I'm at a place where it wouldn't be okay, but I need to get to the place where it would be because he is the goal. He is the ultimate and not the things. And it's just kind of like I I totally understand the idea of grappling with that thought
Yeah.
because the idea of he has a plan, he has a purpose, and we are surrendering to that. And if we can't get to that place, then this Christian walk will be so unsatisfying. And I
Mm,
get the sadness because they're just like, think about like when you are completely surrendered, even if it's not something you want, you're not really going to be disappointed in the same way because you're like, all right,
yeah.
God, I guess you have something better.